What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Damachi. Now, today we're going to be talking about Familia Rush, and I know this is currently live, but it's better to get this in now rather than just not have it at all, because some of you might actually be looking for strategies and things like that. Now, I haven't tested certain teams yet. We might try that later on, but we'll talk about that here. Now, first things first, you need to know, with Familia Rush, this is pretty much a raid boss event. Like, this is very typical, nothing really out of the ordinary on this. We've had several of these in the past few months. So all you need to know is that you and your entire familia are looking to take on every single one of these bosses in succession. So after you beat boss 1, it's going to basically kick over. Then you're going to have boss 2, and then you're going to have boss 3. You will get 4 chances a day, 2 automatic, 2 more after you beat a certain number of events. And there will be bonus time each day. Your familia leader will set up the bonus time, and when you log in, it'll tell you whether or not your bonus time is currently active. Bonus time literally just gives you basically a bonus to your not to your attacks. No, this literally is just to bonus your other fights so that you get your other 2 fights a little bit faster. That's really all it is. It doesn't give you any significant advantage in battle. It just means you're able to get to all 4 of your actual battles a little bit faster, because each fight gives you a certain number of points towards your 3rd and 4th battles for Familia Rush. Literally, this just boosts that. So if there was any confusion, let's get that out of the way now. But let's talk about enemy number 1, okay? This is the first enemy that's going to be available when the event first drops. Now, by the time you watch this, you may be on a different enemy. And every single time it refreshes, meaning every time enemy 3 drops and then enemy 1 comes back in, they get a little bit stronger. Like, I mean, it makes sense. They just level up. It's not like they're just going to go in a cycle. They literally level up each and every time. So you want to pay close attention. You want to make sure that you're getting the most out of this. Crazy Mushrooms times 5. 5 of these foes. You will want to do AoE on this. Thunder magic attack is effective. Enemies. They cast stun. They also cast poison and slow. You want a lot of ailment resistance on this. Like, just maximum ailment resistance pretty much is what you're going to want to do here. Now, poison isn't really a huge thing here, and slow isn't the end of the world, so really stun is the number 1 thing you want to really pay attention to. Poison will slowly, like, chip away at your life, but if you've got a good healer on your team, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. If you got, like, the new Haruhime, or even if you got the OG Haruhime, or if you've got like Artie or someone like that on your team, you should be just fine. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Allies. Increase strength. Now, in the early matches, I don't think that's going to be all that big of a deal. In the later matches, some of you that are like free to play might start having some problems. They might start hitting you a little bit harder. So once again, healing is going to be absolutely paramount on these teams. Okay. Also removes physical and magic resistance debuffs and removes single and all target damage increase. So any debuffs you put on these guys, you're going to want to make sure that you watch your items, make sure your icons are on, make sure you're watching those icons, and you will want to basically restore those as soon as they are taken off. I'm willing to bet usually they do that once, like in the middle of the fight, and once close to the end of the fight. So you want to make sure that those debuffs are applied before you do your last big attack. Okay? Now, let's go down to this row here. Physical resistance is up 40%, magic resistance is down 20%. So you've got to be using a magic AoE team on this. Fire, earth, wind, and water, and thunder. I'm sorry. Fire, earth, wind, water, light, and dark are all neutral. Thunder is down 50. Now, will water be effective here? I don't know. I'm willing to bet it would probably be like second only to Thunder, just because of how strong that team is. I don't think it's going to outdo Thunder at this state, and I always accommodate for that because water got like the biggest, and I mean the biggest buff really that any team has had in the past year. Dark might be pretty good, Fire might be pretty good. I haven't tried those teams. Remember, you can always do a mock battle in Familia Rush, and you could test those teams out. So definitely, if you're not familiar with how those teams work, how you want to do this and all that stuff, don't go gung-ho into your first 2 or 3 fights. Do mock battles and test these teams out. See which team you're getting the best scores with and try different strategies. That's the best way to get your biggest bang out of this fight. Now, you can defeat the enemy with Thunder Magic Attack fighting with Hot Springs Saint Amid. So if you got that Amid, great. A Thunder unit with Plant Killer is effective. So Plant Killers will be really, really, really important here. So Plant Killer is going to be kind of the big... Like, if you have to choose between, like, Plant Killer or Thunder, I would probably do Plant Killer. But, you know, once again, strategize and plan your teams accordingly. But if you have the new Thunder units, definitely go for those. I personally don't have very many of them, so for me, I've got to come up with a secondary plan. The enemy uses Stun and Poison. You are recommended to use Magnificent Bath Dankekt as an assist that can grant resistance to both of them. So, if you don't have Dankekt, that is unfortunate, but basically, I don't think Poison is the end of the world. You could still, just kind of like I said earlier, get away with just doing Stun. I forgot that Dankekt did both of those specifically. I mean, kind of a clue up there at the top. But if you have him max limit broken, definitely use him. If you do not, I would say focus on Stun. Poison's not that big of a deal. Put an assist on that heals your HP and MP in your party and aim for a high damage with a mid. They're giving you a little clue there. If you're using a mid, you do want MP regeneration. So, there you go, guys. That is enemy number 1. Enemy number 2. Okay, Viola's times 3. Plant Killer is once again effective. Earth attacks are also effective. So you really want units that have Plant Killer and Earth attacks. Okay? Enemies. Strength reduction and magic reduction. So they're going to reduce your strength and magic reduction. You want something that you can... either you want to be able to kind of accommodate for that, or the other option there is run somebody that will take away all the debuffs. That is a thought process as well. Allies, physical resist and magic resist increase. Enemies, agility reduction. I don't think that's a big deal. I really don't think agility is a huge factor here. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I just don't think it's the end of the world. Allies, decrease single target attack damage received and removes physical and magic resistance debuffs. So, that's actually a really important factor there. Single target attack damage reduced means you can't go at this with single target units. Or, I mean, you could, but it's not very intelligent. Also, it really kind of screws it up for your for the rest of your Familia. But single target attack damage received reduction literally means you got to go at this with an AoE team. Let's come down here. Okay, physical and magic resistance are neutral, as is fire, thunder, light, and dark. Wind and water are both increased resistance. So wind is increased 20, water is increased 50. Flat out, you cannot use water here. Earth is down 80%, so you really have to use an earth team with this. That is kind of the one big caveat here. If you do, like, if you're on a Familia and you see this come up and you don't have a great earth team, make sure the people that have their earth teams are like hammering down on this. That's my best recommendation for you. I don't think there's going to be much way around that. Maybe a dark team. I don't remember if there are any good dark units with Plant Killer. I'd have to go look. I don't think there are off the top of my head. But once again, I don't recollect. Dark just hasn't gotten enough love, really. Fire probably has some pretty good units on there. But once again, they're going to be nothing compared to what Earth with Plant Killer is going to get. So my recommendation is if you're on a Familia with some units some people that have these units, let them go first, and then you can kind of clean up afterwards if need be. But coordinate with your Familias is kind of the main thing here. Earth attack is effective. The enemy frequently uses skills to decrease your strength and magic. Strength debuff causes your attacks to become extremely weak. Use enemy evasion Naza to remove the debuff on your allies. As I said before, you gotta get rid of those debuffs. Because Naza also has Plant Killer, you can aim for great damage. You're also recommended to use Waterside Eden Alicia, who can increase Earth attack damage, and Waterside Grimlord Elfie, who reduces status buffs of the enemies. So there you go, guys. They basically built your team right here. Now, once you beat enemy number 2, move on to enemy number 3. Okay, once again, Viscum. Plant Killer is effective. Thunder single targets are effective. Emphasis on single targets here. This is where you really need a single target team. Self. Remove debuffs. Gotta reapply those debuffs. Self. Strength and magic increase. Damage receive, attack all, and single target reduction. I'm sorry, not all. Not single target, just all target reduction. So AoEs are not effective here, but you should know that anyway. Use single target units wherever possible. In this fight, I should say. Physical and magic resist are both neutral. Fire, earth, wind, light, and dark are all neutral. Water is up 50, which doesn't mean it's preferable. It literally means it's resisted 50. So don't use a water team here. Thunder is down 50. So if you can, use a single target thunder plant killer team. Very specific, but these always are. Thunder single target is effective. The enemy increases their strength and magic, so remove them using Laurel Agent Daphne's skill. When they remove their debuff, use skill 2 intensely to cast physical resist debuff and increase in damage received single target. So basically what they're trying to tell you is whenever that's removed, use her to put that back on. Notice that Daphne's the only one that they're really recommending here. So that kind of gives you a clue, like, you know, it is what it is. I don't know that I would honestly use a Thunder team here personally, but I definitely wouldn't use Water. I'd have to go see. I bet Fire actually might be really good here. I would be surprised, frankly, if that might not be the preferred method. Could be wrong on that, though. Could be Earth, too. I don't know. I'd have to go through and look. But I'd be shocked if actually Thunder was top dog on this one. It might be, but I'm willing to bet there's going to be another element that's going to be even higher. I just don't know which one right off the top of my head. But that means that I got to go do some mock battles now. So I'm going to call the video there. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Let me know if it was any help in the comments section down below. And by hitting that old thumbs up button. Like, comment, share, and I'll catch you guys all on the next one.